Oh, George. Oh,
Good boy,
kisses again.
George.
You want the kisses? Thank you.
George, sit. Yes. Down. Yes. Stand. Yes. Good boy. Hold it. Good boy. George, sit. Yes. Down. Yes. Stand. Yes. Good boy. Well done. Good job. George, leave it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, take it. Good boy. George, watch me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, good boy. Well done. Good job. George, sit. Steady. Yes. Steady. Yes. Steady. Yes. Steady. Yes. Steady. Yes. Good boy. All done. Good job.
George, ring the bell. Yes, good boy. Okay.
George, go get him. Yes, good boy. George, stay. Yes. Stay. Yes. Stay. Yes. Stay. Yes. Stay. Hold it. George, stay. Yes, good boy. All done.
Sit. Stay. Yes. Stay. Yes. Stay. Yes. Stay. Yes, good boy. All done.
we're going to show you how George does for our off-leash hikes. Ready, George? Let's go. Good boy. So I always start out with a high rate of reinforcement, rewarding them every time they check in. And then as I see that they're staying nice and close, we can start to lower that rate of reinforcement, reward less often. What we want to do is find the sweet spot between rewarding enough so that they do check in here and there, but not so much that they never leave our side. So I do want him to go off sniffing, exploring here and there like he is right now. And then here and there he should be checking in for his treat to let me know we still have a good connection. As we're feeding the treats, it's important to remember that we don't just want to go from giving lots of treats to just stopping altogether and giving them nothing at all. So what we need to do is switch it up with a variable rate of reinforcement. So sometimes he's going to get treats for it and other times not. And also switch it up with affection and praise sometimes. We have to make sure to acknowledge the behavior even if we're not going to give treats every time. And that's a common mistake that a lot of puppy owners make is they get the behavior and the dog's offering it and then they think they're done training and they don't reinforce it anymore. If we don't reinforce it, eventually the dog's going to learn to give up on it because they're learning it doesn't get them anything at all. So that's why we do have to make sure to acknowledge it even if we're not going to give a cookie every time he does it. Now, sometimes we do that on purpose. So if we have a behavior like jumping up or barking at us or doing any other attention-seeking behaviors that we're finding really annoying, we might intentionally ignore or walk away from those behaviors because we actually want them to give up on those behaviors. But that's not what we want to see for the check-in, so we do have to make sure to maintain some kind of a schedule of reinforcement for that behavior if we want them to continue to offer it. Good boy, George. All done, go play. Out here, I'm mostly just using kibble for George. Because we've worked together a lot in this environment, it's really easy for him to make the choice to check in and work with me, so I don't have to use a lot of high-value stuff. But anytime you go somewhere new where there's more exciting sights and smells and distractions, you'll want to switch it up with some higher-value treats. So things like chicken, hot dog, liver, cheese. The idea is you want your best value treat to trump anything they're finding in the environment so that whenever you ask them to do something, they're happily going to do it, expecting to get the best outcome from you. Now, as we're building up this reinforcement history that all the best stuff comes from us, you want to have your puppy dragging a long line to prevent them from running off and self-rewarding in the environment. So what I mean by that is if I go somewhere new and George runs off chasing birds and squirrels, that's what he's going to find reinforcing, so that's what he's going to continue to do every time he gets into that environment. If I start out with him on a long line, I can prevent his access to being able to self-reward in the environment like that while I jackpot him for good leave-its and recalls and checking in until it seems like he's reliably listened to all my cues, and then I can think about fading that line as I get success. Now keep in mind he is still a baby. He's going to go through lots of stages where he tests the rules. So if it seems like he's doing well and then all of a sudden he's not, you might have to sometimes go back to using that long line and go back to building up more reinforcement history during those periods of time where he's testing the rules. I've hidden on George. We're going to do an out-of-sight recall. George, come! Good boy! Yes, good job. All done. Go play. So it's not just about food, it's also about coming out and playing fun games with your dog so that you're really fun and exciting to play with. One of the games we play lots of is hide and go seek. We hide on them, we call them. When they come racing in, they get a really good treat, and then we say go play. Now, sending them to go play at the end of that recall is a really important part of the equation, and that's another area that a lot of puppy owners mess up. Because a lot of puppy owners call their dog before they leave somewhere fun, and then the dogs clue in and they resist coming when called because they don't want the fun to stop. So what we have to do to prevent having that happen is do lots of recalls where we can give them a treat and say go play and let them keep playing. And then anytime it actually is time to leave somewhere fun, what I want you to do is call them, leash them, and then say go play and let them play while they're dragging their leash for a little bit. And then after a few minutes of play, you can pick up that leash and say let's go or this way or some other cue that is not your recall cue. So we're not making the association that recall means the fun's going to end. We want the association with that word to be like hearing the music of the ice cream truck where they always predict something really good and they come racing in without second guessing things. Along the same lines, don't use the word come to do anything you think he might not like. So I never use the word come and then put them in the bath or come and do their nails or grooming. I don't use the word come to get them to do anything they seem nervous about. And that's another area that a lot of people mess up. They call the dog to go through a doorway if they're nervous about it or across a certain surface. And then the dog's making the association that we call them to do things they're scared to do. So you can do cookie trails or kibble tosses or something else to encourage them to figure out how to do those kind of things. But save your recall for things that are going to end up in something good so that we maintain that idea that it's like hearing the music of the ice cream truck. Good boy, George. All done. Go play. George is headed up ahead there. I'm going to change directions and let him know whether this way cue. George, this way. Good boy. So realistically, the reward for this way doesn't always have to be a food reward. It really is just a cue to follow, and having fun in a different direction could be the reinforcement for the this way cue. But if they turn on a dime and come racing in like he just did, I do like to give a food reward to encourage a nice fast response like that in the future. Good boy, George. Well done, go play.